All right, sorry for the delay. I clicked the live button before I really could have gone live, so that's my fault. But we're here. How's everyone doing today? No face cam? Oh shoot, I forgot to click the button. One day you'll get a face cam. My house is too much of a wreck. I'm getting a new door put in, so it's a lot of my stuff is squished into one corner right now. So I spent on like Monday and Tuesday, I was trying to I was like kind of like evaluating Bevy to see if I could switch over to use that. Where is it? Will this still run? And Bevy's actually not bad. I was able to load in like an LDTK tile map pretty easily. Build these like colliders for the empty spaces in it, and like there's a little bit of walking around, and there's a little idle animation playing as well. I was maybe gonna switch over to Bevy. Well, this all, I guess this all, let me back up. This all started from this little frame stutter. Yep. So if you look at these lines, like you can see how it stutters like this. And I did like, I've done an enormous amount of, and it even already has loads of printouts. But anyways, there's this like stutter that happens. And I can't for the life of me figure out what it is. I think I was able to improve it a little bit. I think it's some sort of like, when Go calls JavaScript, I think that there's some heap allocations that happen on the JavaScript side, and then the JavaScript garbage collector runs, which causes some performance problems. So I don't think Ebitengine has that same amount of problems as mine. So I was thinking of switching to that, but I was also thinking maybe I should just switch to Rust. Hence the like Rust evaluation that I was doing. Because like Bevy's like incredibly fast in terms of rendering, a lot faster than like I could ever do in Go. It's like in terms of like putting this together, what I found, well, like I learned a lot of stuff about how Bevy works just by building this. One thing I don't like about Bevy though is that like they have this like plugin architecture where you'll add a plugin that'll do most of the work for you, but then because the plugin's doing most of the work for you, I don't really know what any of my stuff does because I literally just copy pasted examples in, and like it's not super clear. Like let me go to like this is the entity that holds the LDTK tile map, this specific one, but like this has children in it. This has some like children hierarchy, which are other entities. Like technically it's flat, but they do some parent-child relationships. And I think if the parent dies, then the child dies. But and like there's some amount of inheritance in terms of like transforms and things like that, I think. So if you move the parent a little bit, you can move the child. But Bevy does have this nice little inspector thing. But anyways, you basically get this integrated, which has all of the entities, and these are all of the tiles that need to get drawn. Or this is really like literally every single tile, you know? So I did learn a little bit about how it works internally, but like I don't understand how it works well enough to like add to it, I guess. So I was having a lot of trouble like adding features, even though I was able to get this pretty quickly. Then I wanted to like, I want to find out what tile I'm on. Like I have literally no clue how to do that. And I looked at the docs for like hours, I couldn't figure it out. So if I, like I'm sure I could use Rust. It would require a lot of work though. But the frame rate would be incredibly high. So that's the pro there. So I figured maybe as like a middle ground, I would just like switch over to Ebitengine and see if that fixed all of my problems. Because then I wouldn't have to rewrite to Rust, and then also I could keep most of my code. I would just have to rewrite the client side stuff. Reading performance optimized library, source code goes burr. Yeah. No, like Bevy's really, really fast at rendering. They must do some like crazy optimizations. I think Ebitengine could do stuff like Bevy does. I'm pretty sure Bevy does like instancing and things like that. But everybody, all of these engines have this like bunny mark benchmark type thing. Bevy's, they draw birds and they fly around. Mine, I did gophers. Ebitengine does the little fish stick things, the fried fish sticks or whatever they, I think, which I think are called Ebitengine or something. Maybe that's like a food or whatever. But mine and Ebitengine was fairly similar. Mine has a lot more stutter though. Like mine has a lot more frame stutter. His is like perfectly 60 FPS. Like he doesn't miss any frames. I miss a lot of frames on mine. And then Bevy's like 10x our performance. Or no, Bevy's like 5x our performance. Not 10, my bad. Like I was on Ebitengine, I was able to do like also on Ebitengine I have a lot smaller of a canvas, so I don't know. There's probably some performance gained there, which is kind of hard to because if the frame buffer is small, there's just lower fill rate. I think the fill rate's not the GPU fill rate's not the bottleneck here though. It's the amount of geometry you copy over every frame for those types of benchmarks, anyways. But yeah, Bevy was doing like 50,000-ish birds before it would drop below 60 FPS on my computer in WebAssembly. And then Ebitengine would do like 15K. Mine would do like 12K, but it was very unstable. So I don't think I can't imagine I'm gonna have to do very much, like, I don't think I need to do any super crazy optimizations. And then we'll see how it does. The only thing I think that, because when you have things that move, there's not really any optimizations you can do other than reducing the amount of copying you do by doing like instancing or things like that. Oh, I had something I was going to say, but I don't remember what it was now. Also, good morning, JJ. How are you doing? Anyways. Yeah, all is okay. I mean, there's going to be a lot of instabilities, which is unfortunate. But we'll see how it works. My brain won't stop thinking of clickbait titles for the Bevy test. Yeah. All I could think about was if I switched to Rust, all the things, like all the jokes I could make for titles. But I don't think I'm gonna do it. I think if I switched to Rust, I would have to like and this is another idea I had. I was thinking, oh, I could switch to Rust, and then I could because you can write macros in Rust, so I could build my own language inside of a macro that generates Rust code, and then use that. Like I think that's what I have to. That's what I would do if I wanted to use Rust. Because I really just. I bet we might make him 500% faster. Oh yeah. Well, it's nice not having any garbage collections, but I was able to reduce most of my garbage collections pretty high. Yeah, like like very genuinely, I was literally thinking of making like a Golang macro that I just put all my code inside, and it generates Rust code. But like then I like. It's just like if I go that path, I'm just adding more and more work. Now I have to build a language. I have to build a language that generates the code. So now there's room for bugs there. And then I have to like decide, am I going to use Bevy or am I going to use something handwritten? and then there's room for things to get messed up there. But yeah, so there's just, yeah, it just adds on. One day I would be interested in doing that, but if you just made a Rust wrapper that exceeds the MMO binary, made a video about it. Oh wait, what do you mean? Just the front end? I started messing with Emacs last night. Just curious. I got the command down for splitting window. How do you switch between them? It's Control-X-O. I found those helpful tools downloading the cheat sheet from the GNU site and using that to look up the meta commands like dirt. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good way to do it. There's also like you can do Control-X-H, I think. That's the help buffer that gives you commands. Gotcha. Yeah. I could write only the front end in Rust. It is a lot nicer to have the game code shared. Like if I rewrite the client, I may as well rewrite everything just because it's a lot of common logic. The hard part, like I wouldn't be able to just like make a Go translator, you know, because now I have to change, because the libraries that I depend on change, the interactions between those are different. That's the hardest part with rewriting. C interop, yeah. But I think I've kind of made up my mind. I think I'm probably gonna use Ebitengine. Just because Bevy was a little bit too opaque for me. I added this camera in that did like better pixel art rendering for Bevy, but like then some things wouldn't render when I moved the camera, and I couldn't figure out why. There's just little things like that where it's like because I'm pulling in this like plugin and it doesn't work in some way. It's like I don't know why it doesn't work, and I have no idea. Like I have to go through all of their code, learn how their thing completely works, and figure out why this thing isn't working. Because it's not like somebody's like, oh, why isn't there's not a Google search result for why isn't my camera working? And the regular camera works, but the other camera doesn't work. And I looked through their code a lot, I couldn't figure it out. And so I was just like, it's such a trivial thing. They're just doing too much frustrum culling. Too much magic for 5x performance gain. Yeah. Yeah, and the thing, use ChatGPT. That's true, maybe they do have an answer. I actually have not used ChatGPT yet. I was thinking, it seemed like the YouTuber thing to do to make a video about ChatGPT, and I thought about doing it, and maybe I will, but I haven't yet. Seems like a lot of people have already done it, so I don't really know what I would do different. Please don't. Yeah, I just don't, like, if I had an interesting way to use it, I might, but yeah. Like I thought, oh, maybe it'd be cool to like make a video that ChatGPT writes the whole script for, but then I saw like tons of people have done that already. Make my own GitHub code pilot based on an IMO code base. Yeah, it'd be the stupidest code recommender ever. It just generates tons of to-dos and terrible code. Also, welcome to the stream, Arthur. How are you doing today? Oops. But I don't think I don't need quite the performance that Rust would offer for this particular game. I don't think. So, but I don't know. Rust is very tantalizing. So maybe one day. But I did get a lot of interesting ideas by trying out Bevy a little bit more in depth the past couple of days. So, but oh yeah. So I guess back to this. I'm actually not going to use Ebitengine how it like comes naturally. So I wrote this like a wrapper thing that makes it more like a window. And basically how it works is there's a clear function, you call it the start. Like Ebitengine doesn't have a lot of features that I need. Like for example, like layer sorting, potentially like batching things. Those aren't like built in. You would draw that to an image, which is a frame buffer, I guess, and then that frame buffer would be drawn again. So you can batch stuff like that, but you can't batch geometry as far as I can tell. So I try to make it more in a way that's more familiar for me, which is to have like a window, and I basically synchronize, because here's how Ebitengine works. Ebitengine, you write this type. You create this type that that implements an interface called game, and the three functions you have to implement are update, which is your fixed frame update, and then the draw, which is your variable frame update, which is vsynced usually, but I think you can change that. And then layout, which is like your frame buffer callback code, which resizes your frame buffer based off of your window size. So for my example, I just want the frame buffer to be the exact same size, so I return this one. But maybe there's a few different modes you might want to have, where you might have a fixed frame, which is very common for pixel art games, not specifically my pixel art game, but you might have a fixed frame that just scales up based off the window size, you know? Like you might want to maintain some kind of like pixel size, I guess. But here's how mine works. I have this, I basically use channels to synchronize the draw. So when draw gets called by, because when I call run, or let me go to this. I basically have this like ren.run. I call my package ren because it's like short for rendering, I guess. I don't know. And it's also 3 letters. I like 3-letter package names because they're very short. Anyways, I basically wrap my launch function, which is going to be the rest of my game code. But it also receives the window that gets created. So this runs and it goes, creates a window, creates an internal game, which implements that interface I mentioned. And then it launches. It passes the window to my main run function so that I can use it basically. And this is not really a window. It's more like a way to make draw calls. And it sets up some stuff for the window by calling Ebitengine. And then what's it called? Oh yeah, and then it calls the main like run game function, and this one blocks. So this one has to block. You can't call this in a Go routine, which is why like I have to call the rest of the code in Go, or in a Go routine. So the rest of the code runs in a Go routine. This one blocks. So this is like the end of my main function, or my main initial thread here. And then the rest of my code runs in Go, but it has a hook in to make these calls. And when the game runs every single frame, it just waits until the window says the window has a frame ready to draw, and then it executes the draw. And then if you go to the window, window has 2 channels, which kind of synchronize in both different ways. When it finishes updating, that means that like, or users usually call update, or the update function in my last rendering library would do like swap buffers, pull inputs, things like that. So this is basically what you call when you're ready to say that the window is ready to draw. So if someone says like, oh, the user is saying the frame's ready, and then sorry, frame ready. Let me open this. There we go. Okay. Now we have both of them. We have the draw, which is one side of the channels, and we have the this stuff, which is on the other side. Basically, the draw waits for frame ready. It waits for this update to be called, which sends on the frame ready. So that means that the next draw can occur. And then this then waits for the draw to finish, which happens over here. So this is all the draw calls. So now it's a matter of just making a bunch of draw calls in Ebitengine. And how I have those structured is what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have like lists of lists. And this is very similar to how I did draw commands in Glitch. I basically have like I want to draw an image. I'm going to have, or where is it? Draw. I'm going to eventually make this a target, but right now it's a window. So it's a little bit less general, but it'll be kind of like a tree of things that need to be drawn, and I'll sort each of those elements of that tree. Right now it's just kind of like a 1-node tree, But I'll probably have like different layers. Like it'll eventually probably be something like this. It'll do that, or yeah, I'll probably have like coarse grained layers, and then I'll probably have a Z index I'll add inside of each of those layers, so you can do a little bit more flexible sorting. So, what's up, Dracula? Oh, you're on your alternate account. So this is probably how it's going to work. I just wrapped the image, Ebitengine image thing with mine. And yeah, and I also, I'm going to track the draw options separately too. That way everybody who has an image can just customize this however they want. I think that'll be pretty flexible. And it'll let me pre-sort on my draw calls, because I have to do that, I guess. And because I don't think there's any depth buffer. So now next I've been working on a camera abstraction, because I'm gonna have to really aggressively do camera culling, just because there's no geometry batching in Ebitengine. So that is what we're doing, or that is where we are. Sorry guys, my cat's he's being cute. Hello, Trunks. How's Ebitengine? It doesn't have a lot of the features that I am used to having, but I'll be able to get around it, I think. It took me a little while to come up with this pattern of how to use it, but or not this pattern, but the one on the other screen that I just talked about. Or I guess technically this pattern. But I like how it's looking now. I don't like when my runtime's captured by like functions. Like I don't want my entire game to be in a game interface, but so I kind of like wiggled my way out of that. Oh, I also want to, I thought about this last night. I want to do a, in window, I have this like draw. This should be, oh wait, this is the wrong window. I want to have a front and a back buffer. So I can double buffer all of my like entire draw. Because like I basically generate a scene that I want to draw, you know? And I can have my last scene and my next scene, and I can double buffer those. And that way I can do updates on, not on WebAssembly because WebAssembly is single threaded, but on other ones I can generate all of my draw commands, pre-sort them and everything, and then have it already ready. Can we follow any of your resources on Gamedev to become good at Golang in general? I don't really have any like specific resources. I'm a very like project focused person. So like when I want to build something, or I usually have an end goal of what I want to build, and then it's about picking, well, first things first is like pick the language you want to use. It's hard for me to come up with like a reason to, well, it's hard for me to like pick a language and then be like, what do I want to make with this language? It's easier for me to be like, I want to build this thing and I'm going to use this language to do it, if that makes sense. So I'm a very like project focused person. So like I usually have like a project I want to build, and then I want to build that, and I learn by building that thing. But in terms of like getting good at like idiomatic Go, I think you could probably look at like Russ Cox's website. He has a lot of good talks. There's also, if you're interested in concurrency, Rob Pike has a YouTube video, or there's a YouTube video about a conference he presented at or something, called like concurrency is not parallelism or something like that. And that was an interesting talk. He also did one about lexical parsing, which was good, I thought. It had a lot of concurrent designs in it. So like there's definitely like nice things you can do like that for sure. Or there's some I'm sorry, I mean there's some nice talks you can listen to and things like that. But you'll get better at it by just like building with it. And then being like, man, this like usually what happens for me is like I'll build something, I'll be like, dang, this sucks. And then I'll look for like how other people have done it and then like learn that way. That's what I think I don't know. I think that that's the best way personally, but I think everybody's also different. So it's kind of like, I don't know, up to you, I guess. All right. GitHub. Go docs. Also, everything's very spread out. I feel like in this repository, and that's not as like a criticism. Obviously, this is like a very very nice library. If you guys are building a game, I would recommend using this. If you're building a game and you want it to work on more than just like Linux on your Linux computer, I would just use this. I don't think anything else really is this as cross-platform as this library is. I want to go to debug. Wait. Text. Huh. I thought that maybe examples, mobile text vector. I guess let's look at the sprites. I know that they do, there's like a debug string, printing example sprites main. Screen.draw. What was that? Oh, debug print. Oh, it's Ebitengine util. Gotcha. Okay. Wait, where is that? Oh, it's in this one. Window. Okay. So we'll make some debug printout state things just because I want to have some basic text rendering. Debug print. Or really, I should do, this should be a function of window. Or technically, this should be a function of like a target that I'm drawing to. But I'm gonna make this just debug, and because there's only ever gonna be one window, it's actually a singleton. So I can just do win. Oh no, I can't do that, can I? No, I can do. I'm trying to think here. I wonder, does this get sorted? Does this go? What does text do? Draw. Oh, draw with options. Where would this draw? Be careful this doesn't represent the upper corner. Clears. Oh, that's the color. Like automating XML from word processor to Markdown. Gonna be part of my blog site project. Starts after the website. All right, see you, JJ. Yeah, those sound like interesting projects. What day is it? Is it Thursday? Yeah. Okay. So I think we need to flesh out this abstraction a little bit more. I don't think this can necessarily be an image. I don't like the idea, though, of having a list of interfaces that get sorted. Hmm. Draw, debug, print. I mean, for now, I could make all the text rendering happen on top of everything. And just keep those in a separate like debug text layer. Why don't I like that? What's wrong with having it in an interface? I guess when I do this eventual call, it already has an image pointer. So it's not like it's going to be super tightly packed already. I'm probably being like too picky here because I don't think that this, I don't think it makes sense. I think actually if I'm going to have to sort this stuff, I probably want it to be pointers. Because right now I have a bunch of images and eventually I'm going to sort that into layers. But images have kind of a lot of data in them, you know? I could ring, if I really wanted to be, if I wanted to have less heap allocations, I guess I could like ring buffer allocate all of the images into one thing. And then have a pointer to each one. Or like append it onto a backing slice and then have a sorted slice. I can have an unsorted slice and a sorted slice. And there might even be like some cache coherency there because they're kind of packed together, even though I'm kind of randomly accessing them inside. So then the pointer part's just going to be an interface. I think that that's okay. If this ends up being like a huge performance thing, then we can probably fix it by getting rid of the interface. But I think I'm gonna have an interface which is like, I don't know, like drawer or something. And really what it needs to do is it needs to know how to draw itself to an image. So this is the user function. It knows how to add it to a target. This should be a struct. So then this is going to be a draws new target func new target. This will return a target. Do you want this to be a pointer? Yeah, this will be a pointer. Oops. Which means this needs to be a pointer. All right. Eventually this will be like multiple draws. Actually, it is a colon. Make a drawer 0. We could pre-size that, maybe like 1024 or something. It'll eventually scale up. I don't really care. Actually, target does kind of need to be an interface, doesn't it? Otherwise, I have to be like window.add or draw to window.target. Yes, we'll do this. Come on, Luna. Yeah, we'll do this, I think. Draws will just be different. Instead of an image, we'll do a drawer. And then we do draws, jar. My cat's really going for it today. Oh. This just needs an interface, which I think it'll just know how to draw. It'll have all the data that it needs to know to do the draw. Like already packed into it. I also probably need to have like layers and things like that exported as well. But I'll be right back. I'm gonna make some coffee and then pet my cat a little bit so she gets distracted. And yeah, give me like a couple minutes. I'll be back. All right. Coffee's brewing. Cats are pet. Cats are petted. I don't like this. What's up, ASMR surround? How are you today? This just always needs to know how to draw itself to an image. Good, glad to hear it. I kind of also need to get the position of it because I have to sort it. I guess I could do this. What's up, Jacob? How are you doing today? Why the port? I talked about it a little bit at the start of the stream, but basically I was having I have a lot of instabilities with my rendering library, and I really didn't want to spend, like, what I was finding is that I'm spending a lot of time rewriting my rendering library and trying to get things right there, and it just takes too long. And also, I don't think the portability of my rendering library is very good, so I wanted to use something that was more portable. Because like Ebitengine, he's already rewritten the like, it has multiple backends, like Metal. It has DirectX too, or I mean DirectX as well, not DirectX number 2. So I wanted to use something that was a little bit easier to deploy on other computers, and I suspect this one will be a lot better. And I didn't want to deal with all the WASM optimizations I would have to do anyways. So I think mine wasn't running well in WASM just because of what's it called? Because of like some JavaScript interaction stuff that I didn't really figure out properly. But so here we are. I think that this works. Sad to see this glitch go, but it sounds like a positive improvement. Yeah. Honestly, like, I would be fine if I had like an OpenGL interface that I could code to, and or something like OpenGL, and I knew that it would work on every platform, I would use that. But it's just that like, there's Ebiton's done a lot of, or Hajime Hoshi has done a lot of work to like make this library very, very cross-platform, and I don't want to like redo all that work. So yeah, like, I enjoyed working on it. It was a fun project, and I was hoping to be like because there's not very many 3D libraries. I was hoping to make mine like a little bit more 3D focused too, 2D and 3D focused. And I think the abstractions I came up with were pretty good too. They weren't perfect, but I liked them. So yeah, I don't know. But I'm gonna wrap Ebitengine in the way that I like to work, so it's a little bit easier for me. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. And add some features that I definitely need to have, like sorting and things like that. This just needs an add function. I probably need a layer. There's definitely a gap in the market for universal rendering abstractions that you can plug different rendering backends into. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Even Rust has similar types of issues, I think. But I think that like everybody basically uses web GPU now. So, but it's like what they do is they just rewrite it for every platform. Like, they just rewrite the backend for every platform, which is like insane. It's insane to me that that's what it's come down to. But like, to some degree, it makes sense. but it seems like a lot of work. Like they have a Vulkan rewrite, they've got OpenGL, they've got WebGL, they've got all these different GLs. And it's obviously a ton of work. All right. Anything with an add function is now a target that can be drawn to, and then this draws to a target. And then this will be moved. And this will do target.add image. Wait a second. Where does set position happen? Oh, I did set position, then I also did draw like this. Okay. Add I, because image has to be something that's drawable. But this is the wrong draw. I'm gonna call this paint. And we'll have paint functions, which will do the final painting. So we'll add the target to the list. And then we have a paint, which looks something like this. Maybe I call it painters instead of drawers. Okay. Draw image. We already have the image, dot image. And then I.opt is the thing that needs to be drawn with. Okay, cool. Wait, this is target still, drawer. Do I still use that anywhere? Painter, painter. And we can make more flexible targets as well. We can do a tree of targets, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Draw image. That seems fine. Now, what we can do is in text.go debug, we just do a target. Whoops, this was a typo. We do text to this. I guess this doesn't technically need to do this. This just needs to have a paint function. Oh, we have to actually add more of these functions, don't we? I'll eventually add pause and layer functions to things. This is like a text to draw. What does debug print look like? String. Okay, this is very similar to what we have. So what this needs to do is this needs to have a paint function. And that is what does the actual painting. Wait a second, how does this work? I.image. Where does screen come from? Oh, paint needs to take the screen. It's not technically the screen always though. There we go. So this needs to have it Oh, I even defined it like that. Okay, I just messed up. Okay. We'll draw to the dest with the string t.string. String. Target.add. Like so. All right, let's go to my example. See if this works. Go run dot. Text and time implement painter paint. Oh, I have to do this. I guess doesn't matter that much. Screen.draw image. Oh, this is where I need to go through all the draws, and instead of doing this, I do sorry. This is like all the painters basically. So now I do w.draws i.paint to screen. Yeah, this is now, I changed this API a little bit. So I just wanted to do gopher.set position. Then I want to do gopher.draw. And then I should be able to do ren.debug hello. And that should work. Draw win. Win is not a target. Are you writing to an image, then rendering that image? Like writing to a back buffer in OpenGL and then swapping the buffers? Yeah, so how I'm structuring this is in Ebitengine, there's no depth buffer and there's no z index, so there's no there's no sorting that's done for you automatically. So what you do is you have to pre-sort. I guess because I asked in the Discord, the Ebitengine engine Discord, about it, and they said that you just pre-sort your slices, or you pre-sort your sprites. So where's my window? So like, for example, I'm basically just gonna keep all of my things in here. And what I'm gonna eventually do is I'm gonna do like a list of lists where this outer array is all the layers and the inner array is the different things that need to be painted. And then like, for example, this might be like the tile map layer, and there's like the projectile layer, then there's like the character layer, then there's like the UI layer, for example. And those will be just like, there are things that I never want to overlap. Those can be on separate layers. And then things that could potentially overlap based off of like their Y position or their X position or things like that, I'll sort them inside of this slice. So I basically build up all the draws that need to happen, and then I execute all the draws that need to happen. That's my method. Yep. Very cool. And then I think that also lets me do things like I could, I don't know. I was kind of thinking maybe I could do like a frame buffering of some things automatically, but I don't know how I would do that really. Because like the tile map, I'll probably have to frame buffer. It's also weird because all of this stuff gets drawn in the context of the camera. So it would be nice to have like automatic camera culling too. So I might combine those two things. So if something's not going to ever make it to the image, I don't do the draw. But Ebitengine might also do that. I don't know if it does, but it could. It could. Yeah, what was my bug? I think it's probably because this target isn't a, or let me, oh, that was a demonstration. Can I use win variable type ren window s type ren target in argument to go for .draw? Does it have an add method? Oh, I never added that. Okay. W dot draws equals append. None of arguments in debug. Oh, we're gonna render the window. There we go. There's some text. Oh, the position of the gopher didn't move though, what it should have. Oh, this needs to be a pointer. Okay. There we go. Now it's moving. Look at that. There's no sorting or anything like that yet, but eventually, like, what'll happen in this execute draw is I'll probably, as I'm going to go through and I'm going to sort everything in the order that it needs to be drawn in, then I'm going to draw it all. So it's going to get all pre-sorted, and then I'm going to be like, hey, frame requested. Why is it called that? Oh, then you send that to say, I don't know. That just starts the next frame. I figured out the synchronization stuff already. I just didn't. I don't remember how it works now. Ironically, I did it yesterday, so not very impressed with my memory abilities. You know, what can you do? I'll be right back. I'm gonna get my coffee. My paper filter on my coffee maker got like folded over, I think, and a bunch of the grounds went into the cup. So we'll see how this does. We shall see. Debug print at. Draw a line. Oh, this is mostly for debugging stuff. Text, font face, color. I might make things more Like I might make an object that wraps all of this text rendering stuff. That might be the play. Did I mute myself? Am I unmuted? Okay, cool. I couldn't remember if I muted because I remember I walked back, I didn't unmute. Okay. Now that we have that, at least we can go back to the MMO game. And we can use this string finally. So we do win.clear, we do yeah, there's gonna be a lot of there's gonna be a lot of commented out portions of this code, let's just say that. All right, how do we get mouse scroll? That's probably an input util. Maybe it's just like scroll. How do I get scroll? Oh, it's probably because it's so cross-platform. I think he probably has things that are more like for example, it might not be a mouse scroll if it's like a finger scroll or something like that. There's some gritty coffee. I don't know what to do here. Mouse button. Not there. It's gotta be here then, right? Oops. Let's go to the very top. Let's just search for scroll. Wheel, okay. Yeah. I think that's a poor name, but that's fine. Wind, I'm just gonna do two separate returns. What does this return? X offset, Y offset. Wait, what is this other one? Window position, oh, okay. What was those float 64s? Yeah. All right. Migration, yeah. It's funny because when I wrote mine, I attached all of these functions to the window. But I think in Ebitengine, there's only possible for one window, which is fine for me. So they're all detached. I assume I can call this stuff from whatever Go routine I want. That's probably right. I feel like that'd be kind of crazy if I couldn't use Go routines. Right, input systems is declared but not used. Oh, that's right, because I changed this. Because I have my own game loop that I use. Let's see here. Text input mode. Win.pressed. Oh, it's ren. What does capture input do? This one's definitely gonna break. That's fine. We'll just do it one at a time though. New sprite. Load.sprite. What does this take in? An image? It takes in a ren.image. This is where like a lot of my libraries are using glitch stuff. Yeah, glitch is still public. Yeah, I'm not planning to. I'll probably archive it and leave like a mention down there. But yeah, I'll leave it public. I don't think the code was like terrible. I don't think the OpenGL code was bad. I think just the portability stuff is was bad. I guess we can do this. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Is it? Because I do sprite sheet.get. It's interesting now because Ebitengine does automatic texture atlasing. I don't have to necessarily have it all atlased together because it should just work when he does it. And it might be like problematic to atlas it myself because now it's this big image. I don't know actually how he does it. If I do a sub image, he probably doesn't copy the whole underlying image over. I don't know. But it might be better now to load individual sprites in rather than one big one. That's a contribution from my kitten. Source code diving time. I don't know. I'm tempted just to get rid of my texture atlasing completely. Cause like because he's automatically doing it anyways. I don't see like a ton of reason to try to like pack my images together if he's gonna pack them together anyways. Like if he's gonna repack them, there's no point to have it as one image. Because I'm gonna embed all the images anyways. Maybe it saves some space not having a bunch of individual images. I'm not too worried about my images taking up too much space, you know? It's also way easier not to have to generate this stuff. But on the other hand, my stuff already works, so. And there's a sub image function where I can get a sub image. Dude, my cats are so needy. So it's just like constant, if it works, no touch, yeah. That's very much my motto. Sorry for the cats. We just played. You wanna play again? Already? So soon? Cat cam where? I know, I'm sorry. It was a little bit scrambled. I'm trying to think of how this is all gonna work. Because this really ties into, because I do a lot of specific loading stuff right now, like for my mounting system and things like that. So I might just atlas all my stuff anyways. I might just keep it exactly how it is. I don't think it'll be that hard to do a sub image. I'm trying to think. Because I was looking to see if there's an A sprite loader, and there is one that I think like Solar Loon wrote, and but I think it relies on the exported sprite sheet of A sprite. That's not super useful to me because I'm already gonna have to export it. So that means I already have to write a script to export it. It's just gonna be a bunch of individual exports rather than one. It is somewhat nice though to just be able to like, oh, get this image, you know. I guess his is nice because it I can get the sprite sheet for like the man or something like that, and then just have access to all of the frames like right there. But I think for now, I'm probably just gonna rewrite the sprite sheet to do like a Ebitengine version of the sprite sheet, and then just do a sub image of that. The thing is I don't have that many images. Like I'm probably not gonna fill up the atlas regardless of how I pack it. So. It will be nice though, because I'll basically just have a it's gonna be very similar to this lookup, right? It's just gonna be like a string for the file name and then get the sprite. And regardless of whether or not it's a sprite sheet or something else, it'll still look like that. Sounds easier to handle in the future too. What having individual sprites does. Like right now I have a go generate step, which does all the sprite packing for me. The other thing though is my sprite packing does some extrusion on the edges of the tile sprites. Just packed, okay, yeah. Yeah, I do some like extrusion on the edges of the sprites to make sure that if the UV coordinates like filter over just a little bit, it still looks okay. So that maybe if I do migrate away from it, I'll have to be careful to make sure I don't like mess that up, you know? Oh. So let's just keep it, we'll just keep it packed for now. So we'll do this. We'll just copy this guy over. Chunklord has to go too. Yeah, I'm actually gonna get rid of Chunklord. Well, I already renamed it. I renamed it to Chunkloader, but I actually had an interesting idea of how I'm gonna do that. Like I'm really like right now I'm kind of focused on I want to strip down my game to be much more simpler than how it is. So I'm trying to leverage like things that people have already built. Despair. It's probably gonna be the end of Chunk Lord though, because there's already like, there's not a good way to like, it's hard to explain. There's not a good way to like if I did my own, well, I guess originally when I was playing this game, I was thinking I was gonna have like this infinite world, not like infinite, but like it was gonna be a big world that you would like go around in. But now I think it's gonna be much more. There's gonna be like a small overworld area, and that's gonna be hand designed. And then I'm gonna have auto-generated dungeons that you go through. So it's probably gonna be more of like a dungeon crawler type game. So the like advantage of chunking really isn't that big. And even if I do make a big world, like it's really not that much data to just have in one. Like you should see the size of my chunks right now. Where is it? Let me go there. Hold on. Data chunk. All right, like these chunks are 100 by 100, which is pretty large. And they're in like they're on the order of like 208 kilobytes. And this is not very like organized packed. This is just like, you know, random. And also this is like very, very wasteful in terms of like each of these chunks has like 5 tile maps in it. So it has like 500 times 100. What's that? 10,000. So it's got 50,000 tiles in it essentially. And most of them are like no tiles because I have a bunch of layers, you know. What I think I'm gonna do here, actually I can draw it. Actually, I'm kind of excited about this idea too. So I'm probably gonna switch over to LDTK. And I think Solar Loon wrote a loader for it, so I'm probably gonna use his loader for it. And LDTK has this concept of, I think they call them levels. But you basically go in and you design like your level. And so there's two like use cases I have in my head right now. One of them is like the overworld. So this will probably be just like one big level or like a bunch of small levels that are all chunked together. And then like maybe I can optimize some things that way. But regardless, this is going to be like one big thing that you're in. And then you might go into a dungeon, right? I don't know if I spelled that right, but a dungeon nonetheless. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand make. I'm going to hand make like levels, and I'm going to hand make borders around levels. Kind of like this. So the red's going to be the borders. This is what Spelunky did. I'll yoink that diagram for the future. Shall name it the Great Rewrite. Yes. So it'll be like borders. Let me try to make it as nice as possible for you then. So it'll be border. So they'll be like a handmade. So this is like the internal to one room of a dungeon. And then there's going to be borders, which are used to connect rooms. So then I'm going to have some like procedural generation thing, which says like, I want to put this here. I want to put this other room here. And then I'm going to border them with this border. Like I'm going to bridge the gap. And the border will be like, oh, there's a wall here, which means that the door is like this thing. Maybe the door goes like this, you know? So like I can have borders that do stuff like that. And maybe this, like we can get as complicated as we want. But basically I'm gonna have like borders and I'm gonna have rooms. And then I'm gonna have borders be things that join rooms together. And rooms are not gonna have any borders on them. Maybe they have like maybe there's some default border which just adds a wall on the edge or something like that, you know? So then I can make small rooms out of big room, or I can make big rooms out of small rooms by just like lumping them together. Like I can do like something like this if I want. So I can make like a weird shaped room there. So I'm kind of making like room tiles, I guess. I think Spelunky did this, and maybe Dead Cells did this too. Yeah, it won't be, the game's not going to be like Binding of Isaac where you walk through rooms. It's going to be more open than that. Like Binding of Isaac, you walk through a room and you go from one to the other. This one's going to have like rooms that join rooms together. So like this will be like an interaction room, I guess. There's these rooms that you have interactions in, and there's going to be rooms that kind of join them together, where there's not really any interactions, but you're going to walk through it. But it's not going to be like the screen pans over, you know, like Binding of Isaac, where you switch from like seeing this one to this one. It's like you're going to slowly see one from the other. Yeah. So I think I do LDTK different levels, and then just kind of procedurally generate one like this. And then I can have handmade rooms, like so. So that's my plan. And then I'll have to build an editor either. So I'm kind of going back to hopefully make going forward a lot easier. I tend to underappreciate pre-written stuff, so I'm trying to appreciate it more. And by underappreciate, I mean like I tend to not use. I can't believe it. I know. Unit being practical. I know. The board must be very proud. I was worried they were gonna dock my pay when they heard I was stopping my rendering library. I am growing up. I'm a child no more. Load JSON. Okay. Image file path. That's fine. Load the image. That's fine. Docking 0 is still 0. Ooh, that one cuts deep. What's up, Sammy? But yeah, that's very true. Look, you can still see my code from when I was using Pixel. So we've effectively gone through 2 rendering libraries. We're hopefully the 3rd time's the charm. I should comment this out just so that it's just to keep the legacy, you know? We'll have the pixel picture from image glitch.new texture. Okay, we'll call this an atlas. What is the image? Ow. New image from image. Sure, something fundamental such as a rendering image should never change again. I know. Shame on me. Glitch, you'll be remembered. A dear roast old horse. All right. I'll have to make sure this math is still right. Okay. Frames. I guess this is okay. Oh wait, this uses glitch.rex though. That's fine though, we can do. We want to store the assets in the game using embed and therefore use the Ebitengine util new image from file system function. Yeah, I do actually already store all of my stuff in embed. But I've already written this like loader thing that I use to load all of my assets anyways. So I'm planning to use that. How do I do ace animation? Oh, it loads from a sprite sheet. Oh, that's kind of annoying. I really should clean this up. Is this worth it? Because I have to rewrite the ace sprite animation stuff anyways. Let's just look. I'm trying to think. I know that there's yeah, so you export. Well, as well it lasted. Now that the stuff is pushed to the infrastructure stuff, it should be less painful now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that the rendering gets a little bit more stable after this. But we shall see. What's up, Code on Rocks? How you doing today? Oops. Open JSON file. Current frame chords. The four corners of the current frame format x1, x2, x1, y. Okay, that's just a rectangle. Set frame. Sets the currently visible frame to frame index. The thing is, I don't think I necessarily want to use a lot of these helper functions. I think I just want to get the data out. On loop. Gets called when playing animation. Layer. Name, opacity, blend mode. Slice. Slice key. Oh, there's tags, okay. Tag, start, end, okay. How do I do my sprite animations? Because I want everything to be the same as much as possible. And I'll have two, I think I'll have two use cases. One of them's map loading and one of them's entity loading. And how the map loading is going to work is, actually, we should probably look at that. Because the sprites might be embedded inside of that. Actually, they almost certainly will, won't they? Like there'll probably be a way, I'm not gonna have to correlate them together. They'll be correlated by the LDTK file, I assume. So maybe I just ditch this whole thing. Let me look at this though. This is gonna be a long rewrite. It'll be good though. It'll be good for me. How many days would you guys predict this is gonna take me to get all the way to Ebitengine? It's so hard to say Ebitengine. I'm learning I made a Minecraft stress test tool and can get 22k connections per second with 990 proxies. Free proxies, so bad performance. On 4 threads, VPS go fast AF. Greater than Java. Nice. I'm loving Go. Yeah, I like Go too. Also, I don't know how people complain about error handling. It's actually good. Yeah, I think it's better than like exceptions, but Ebitengine. Is that you're supposed to say it? You can do it, unit. On stream or off stream? That's a good question. Off stream, 30 seconds. On stream, probably like 6 years. Also, I have one problem with Go. It had not so good library support for all proxy types. I'm gonna use SOCKS 4, SOCKS 5, and HTTP proxies. I'm not familiar with those ones. If you know a good way I can get all proxy protocol support, please tell. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with those types of proxies. Off stream done in 2 days, on stream 2 to the 32 days. That sounds about right. No thanks needed for help. Well, I still appreciate it. Okay, let's look at the LUTK library now. This guy's got a lot of good libraries. I'm tempted to use this as well. Where is the... There we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted. All right. When it's to migrating everything at once, you create a func that converts your current image concept to an ebitin.image. Would that happen? It's tricky for a lot of reasons. Like I have a lot more features than, or I have a lot more. Mine's a lot more like OpenGL focused. His is a lot more image focused. So like, there's a lot of things I depend on inside of my library, which Ebitin just doesn't have. So like, I'm kind of doing what you're saying, or I'm doing something very similar. I'm kind of rewriting a wrapper layer around Ebitin, and I'm going to start interacting with that. So it's going to be similar to what I had before, but like some things will be different just because they have to be different. Like there's no depth buffer in Ebitin, so I can't do a lot of the like GPU depth sorting that I was depending on previously. So that means I have to be more aggressive with my CPU sorting. It also means I need to be like a little bit more specific on how I layer things, I guess. And I probably can't use as many tiles as I was using before, because there's also no geometry buffering or batching, I mean. Or sorry, there's geometry batching. There's no at least from what I understand, there's not a way I can copy a large mesh over and then have it just persist on the GPU. I have to send it over every frame, I think. What do I think about it? I think it's a good library. I think it's I think people probably would like it more if you're doing something if you're doing something and you don't know how OpenGL works, then you probably would like it a lot. It's like it's very well abstracted, if that makes sense. Like the image abstraction is very nice for sure, but like sometimes it's annoying when it's like, man, I really just want a depth buffer, so I don't have to sort all my stuff. But like it doesn't have one. But I can understand why it wouldn't, just because it's another feature you have to support on every single platform. So I think like the main selling point is stability, or is stability and cross-platformness. But yeah, I think it's going to be fine for what I need to do. So it's probably the best rendering library in Go right now. Or almost certainly is. Okay, we have entities, we have layers, we have... Can we get images out? That's a little scary. I guess maybe we get the file name for the image. Oh. Property, tile, flip X, flip Y, tile set. Custom data, enums for tile. Or let's just look at, maybe he has it here. Example, render.level, which will be, we'll retrieve, in the draw loop. Okay, let's figure out how you do that. Yeah, how does he do this? Tileset.png. Tileset2. It's weird that this is its own Go mod. Its own Go mod. I've never seen that before. Ebiting renderer. Wait, what? What does this do then? What's the difference between these two? Oh, interesting. As an example of rendering, so they use it Ebiting to render LDTK to multiple Ebiting images, one for each layer. Note the approach I've taken here works fine. Would really only be usable for levels with smaller layers that would require Ebiting image sizes that exceed the GPU's maximum image size. If this were the case, if a layer were upward loads of, then I would instead render the tiles as necessary according to the camera's view. This would likely be slower than rendering a rectangular piece of layer. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, this is just his, oh, this is like how he's gonna render stuff. All right, and the main function, I assume he gets the sprites out here. Oh, new disk loader. Okay. I have a cold. Coding is so hard right now. Oh yeah, like when I'm sick, I can't, it's so much harder to think. Base path. Load tile set with tile set path. So he renders everything once and then just renders that basically. So it's kind of like rendering to a frame buffer. There's probably some way to do this sort of thing, but in just chunks, smaller chunks. Maybe chunklord will return. But if he does, it'll only be for rendering. I'm working on a website that Monkey made, so at least that's good. Jeez, that's harsh. Is that your coworkers you're talking about? Okay, tile sets. How does he get this though? Also, that's... I've never... Oh, it's an empty one. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. So he's just using that to make an empty slice. I feel like make is a... I don't know. I prefer make, but whatever. Tile sets. Where do you store? Oh, here we go. Layer, tile set, path. Oh, this is the full tile set. Okay, so then he gets the tile set. Where's render tile get called? Is it just commented out? Oh, he just wait a second. I guess he just gets the summit. I guess he just copy pasted the code in. That's fine. Tile data. Okay, so tile data has the rectangle inside of the tile set image that needs to get pulled out. Image rect, tile data dot source, range tiles, layer dot all tiles, layer all tiles, auto tile at. Okay, this is fine. I'm probably gonna pull all this stuff out. I'm probably just gonna pull all the data out and then position the tile in pixels. Wait, where's the position of the tile in? Wait, what? Oh, maybe it's like layer to grid position. Integer I returns the in-grid. Tile add returns the tile. Flip ID of the tile. Huh. Tile set ID UID enums. Oh, that's for custom data. You'd think they would just do like a tile ID and then the tile ID would have, it's like so strange to me. The source position on this texture to draw this texture. Position of the tile. I'm sure they have their reasons, but I don't know. Layer. Let's just go through these. Okay, so add the tile position. We can get the auto tile. We can get the integrid tile. Tile. This is maybe just for manually placed tiles. Hmm. I was hoping I was going to be coding more this stream, but unfortunately this is just reading, isn't it? Position is an int. The ID of the integer in the integer. I just don't think I don't have think I think if I get this, I don't have the like yeah I can render it, but I don't have the data, so I think I have to use IntGrid to get that. The tricky thing is though is I think if I piece together, now that I'm thinking about it, I think if I piece together LTTK levels like this, I think the auto tiling might get messed up. Hmm. I'll come up with something though. Welcome back, JJ. That's something I need to get used to in Go is channels and runes. The rest of it looks like C. Yeah, channels are unique. Go routines are unique. Runes are just like, I think they're UTF-8 characters. Integer. Well, if I get layer, I have all the tiles. What do the tiles have? Position of the tile in pixels, the source position of the texture to draw this texture. And then if you flip it or not, that's just a bit mask. The ID of the tile. So I think the hard part is that if I do, I think if I do like if I do string these together, like for example, these are on different levels, right? So like this one doesn't know, like normally when you draw one of these, like I have the tile rules set up such that if it's missing below, maybe there's a setting that does that. Like if it goes over a layer, like how to treat edges. I don't know. Like this doesn't know that there's nothing there, so it's just going to the edge. So that's not a good thing. And that sort of behavior might make it hard to that might make it hard to tile these chunks together. But if I do this, oops, if I drag this. Like if I go down, then it draws it correctly. But if I go up, it draws it wrong. How's the LDTK experience? I like LDTK. Now that I kind of understand how it works, I'm planning to move to it instead of maintaining an editor, because it basically does everything I need. I think if I do need to add some very specific entity or something like that, then I can just like do it manually some other how. I just don't know. The hard part about using LDTK is if I procedurally add in these rooms, oops. If I want to procedurally add in rooms or whatever, like I can't tile them together, if that makes sense. Like the edges have to be, like they have to be set up exactly right. All of the edges, which makes it kind of hard. So that part I'm not sure about really. So like when you maintain, if I have in my code, like in my code base, I have it auto tiles itself. So what that means is I can just draw a tile anywhere and it'll automatically tile because it's going to go and check all the neighbors and make all the decisions. But if I do it in LDTK, then I load in a static game, and then if I change a tile, now it's not going to auto tile, right? Because the LDTK rules aren't being imported, I think. So that's the hard part. Because the rules aren't being included, it's just the it's just like the static map, I think. So that means if I have multiple of these, can I paste these? No. Oh, you just duplicate. Oh wow, you can overlay them. That's actually interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Like these are separate levels though. Like that's the point, I guess. Right? Is they're just completely separate. But like ideally this should be drawn correctly, but it's not going to be drawn correctly because of the edges. Because it doesn't ever go and look over, you know? So that means my edges have to be like always the same, which is kind of tricky, I guess. But what else? I was hoping I could just like make a bunch of these blocks and then just like string them together. And to some degree, I guess I can. It's funny because this is like a tile map inside of a tile map. Is there a way to make this bigger? I think I can do this actually. Okay, there we go. Like as long as I make these connectors match, as long as I make these connectors match, it's okay, right? So I guess what I can do is if I don't know, maybe I have some automatic edge detection thing or whatever, or maybe I make all of the edges the exact same. It's just hard because I want to make a wall here. Like I'd like it to be seamless, but I don't think I really can. That's kind of seamless, I guess. I guess even if I don't. This one's just a special case because it's just a square. Like I won't be able to tile things across this, that tile together uniquely. But maybe that's okay. I was kind of late. You know what LDTK rules? Yeah, I mean, like you just set up these rules on this int grid and it determines like which tile should be drawn based off of the tiles around it. So like, for example, this one gets drawn. This is like a wall rule, or sorry, this is a floor rule where like if this one's filled with the floor and all of the edges are filled with the floor. Oh, out of bounds policy. This rule. This rule should not apply when reading cells outside of bounds. This option allows to define which int grid value should be returned when this rule inspects cells outside of layer bounds. Oh, so I could make it say empty cells. Oops. Wait a second. How does this work? So there's gonna be a separate rule loader. Oh, sorry, I got kind of distracted. Basically, like depending on the rules of which tiles are, like if you look at this, you can see like this is a gray tile type and this is a red tile type. The gray is floors and the red is walls. And then they automatically determine which tile needs to be drawn in which spot based off of the rules that you set up. So for example, this one is like the fill tile. This one's like the tile below it. This one's for like left tiles, which I guess I don't have any of. And this one's for border tiles that aren't the bottom tile. Like this is the bottom tile, this is other border tiles. Geez, he's finally using LDTK. Yep. Finally. But the out of, I guess this one, it never goes out of bounds, does it? Wait. What's the out of bounds ones? There we go. Let's look at this one. Let's say empty cells. Or no, actually, I want to look at. What is this one? Yeah, this one should do it. Empty cells, floor, wall. Why doesn't it change? Well, you'd think if I did the rules here, this one, out of bounds policy, this option allows to define which int grid value should be returned when the rule inspects cells outside of layer bounds. The default setting. The default setting prevent rules from working on level edges if they are checking for layer values outside of the level bounds. Maybe this one needs to empty. Okay, there we go. So now this rule is more, captures more. Obviously that looks wrong, but it works, it looks right for this section, you know, which is kind of weird. So it's hard to get like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure something out. Wall. We just treat it like floor though. You could do that. So I could just say like the edges of these are always floor or something. Gee, oh, Conifer's here. Time to leave. He's finally using LDTK. I sure am. Yep. I did a lot of soul searching at the start of this week, you could say. So the soul searching is complete now. Now we're just building. Back to building. Trying to make things simpler. Trying to make things simpler and more stable. Trying to do less work and build more game. Don't worry, I'll still make it too complicated, but at least it'll be slightly less complicated than before. You and stable simple don't work. I know. I'm trying though. I'm trying my best. Unit moving from Arch to Debian. Oh, get out of here. I'm not going that. I'm not regressing that far. Unit about to chase the board's pay raise. I'm hoping to. I'm hoping to make an impression. Hoping to raise some eyebrows, if you know what I mean. No pay raise, regardless. I would like to understand how this is gonna work, though. All right. If I duplicate this one, let's do a little example here. Do a new level. Is this the same size? Okay. Oh, it's weird. This got level 7 added to it as the name. That's a bug, I think. Maybe that's why they do yeah, like if you duplicate level 6, you get 2 level 7s now. Oh, and I clicked on this one, it changed it to level 8. Interesting. Okay. Not with a huge delay. I guess I could always just say it's gonna be floor on the edges. But like let's build 2 levels and then we'll add a border level. Border levels could be the same size, I guess. Duplicate again. I mean, like you could do this, right? Just always have all the border filled. Or you put doors always in the middle. The problem is if I want to have a wall here, it's really hard now. I have to do the wall on both sides. Like I have to make sure that these match up properly. Like if I want to do a wall here, I have to do a wall here as well. Otherwise it won't draw properly. Man, it's kind of frustrating. I wish it's like that seems reasonable, except for the fact that this is gonna be really hard to tie all together. This is gonna be like, oh, this is one with this size connector on the bottom. I don't really know. I don't really have a solution for this. Unless I always do, what if I do this? Oops. Or we'll just do a new level. What if I do this? I always make these like, these ones are always floor. These ones are always floor. Then I do something like this. These ones are always floor. But then what if I have something tall here that goes over though? Maybe this is just for tiles. Like, I don't know. These kind of define the borders then. That's kind of what my idea was. I mean, we can just do this. We do that. Oops. This. We zoom out. Well, oops. That's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Okay. Because those are always floors, now we can just go here and this can just be some arbitrary connector, because this is just a connector between these two, right? That's wrong, because this needs to go like this now. So this connector always has to have this. This is like a top-down connector. I guess that works, doesn't it? I'm gonna have to think about this more, I think. You want a solution? Go back to Java. Ugh, you're right. What's that Java lightweight game library? Here I come. Time to watch some thin matrix videos. Stability in Java. Stability and love. It's like this works, but I guess you'd probably make this like this, huh? These would just be like literally just connectors. You'd never do diagonals. That's not so bad. And you end up developing reflections for TVim. For team. We'll miss the speed of Go. So that wasn't last time export. Oh, spending time. Does Java not have reflections? I thought it did. Horizontal, one level after the other. Vertical, one level after the other. I could also, I'll play around with this. I need to play around with this and just see what, actually, let's just look really quick. I really want to just duplicate this project. How do I duplicate this one? I'll do it later. I need to eat something. I'm hungry. I don't know what TVim is. Oh, TVM. You'll have to do some wrapper or something for that. Like that for WASM export. I'm not familiar with TVM. What am I having? You don't deserve lunch breaks. You're right. I wasn't gonna eat. I was just saying that so I can finally get back to focusing. A tree bark. I can sustain off that. Tree bark tea, potentially. Tree bark tea, tree bark salad. Tree bark sub with tree bark breading. I don't know what I'm gonna have yet. Probably some tree bark though. It'll probably be 99 to 100% tree bark. Maybe 1% bugs left in the tree bark. The unit lives on Java coffee. I only drink coffee. Do you want some tree bark cheese? Yeah. Well, sometimes there's sap in tree bark. And you know, it's a little bit of sugar in there. Anyways, it was fun. We got a little bit done. Not a lot, just a little bit, just enough. Just enough to quell the board for another day, potentially. All right, boys. I'll see y'all later. Not enough. It's never enough. It's never enough for the conifer, for the tree man. Now that I think about it, you are obsessed with trees. Everything's always a tree reference. We're not happy with the outcome. One day you will be. And one day your investment will pay off. And you'll be very proud. You'll be a proud tree lover. All right, guys. I'll see you later. You guys have a good one.